Welcome to the Planet Paintball Podcast, the ultimate podcast for paintball enthusiasts. Each week, we dive into the world of paintball, bringing you stories, insights, and tips from players, coaches, and industry insiders. Sponsored by 1023 Sportswear. Looking for high-quality gear that performs as hard as you do? Check out 1023 Sportswear. And as a listener of the Planet Paintball Podcast, you can get 20% off your order with the code PLANETPaintball. Suit up, save big, and play your best.
All right, welcome back to the Planet Paintball Podcast. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. It really helps us out. And check out our sponsors of the show, 1023 Sportswear and Southwest Paintball in Bayfield, Colorado. Today, I got Gabriel with me, who is a local player of the Carolines, but also a great video and photographer guy. Welcome to the show, Gabriel.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be on.
So before we start recording, you mentioned you played the C3XL last weekend. How did you guys do in it?
We didn't really do great. The first match, we got some penalties that it was close and then it wasn't. And then the second match, we played the Tropics, which that's just a good team. They 0-2 or 0-3 us the event before. It was 1-0 and we just had like a 12-minute point. So it's
Man, that's a long point, bro.
I haven't been playing for long, so that's the most paint I've ever shot. I shot 7 pods in a hopper, and I had like 4 balls in my hopper. It's 15 seconds, and I'm like, all right, buddy, I'm gonna put you in a 1v2. Hopefully, try to run somebody down. Didn't end up working, but
So, and for those that don't know, because this will come out after Tyler's episode, the C3XL is Tyler's, and that's the 3-man X-Ball league. So that is a super long point and a lot of paint for 3-man X-Ball.
Yeah, for 3-man X-Ball, it was good. I don't think it was actually 12 minutes because I think the game timer is something like 10.
Yeah, it's right around 10.
Yeah, it was a large majority of the game timer. There was a quick point and then one point where it was the entire rest of the game time, because I remember I looked at the clock and it said 15 seconds, and I was like, all right, I gotta go try to do something. Didn't exactly work out.
I would have been screwed because I only take like 4 pods out for that format in particular. The fact you thought to bring out 7 on you.
The only reason that I had done that, if it was any other team, I would have only brought 5. I always do 5 just because it's the most comfortable for me. The event before, we played the Tropics, and the thing that I had screwed up, because I had died early every point, and that's kind of what killed us, is I died early, and then they just kind of picked us out. So I had emphasized, thinking, like literally at the entire lead up to the event, thinking, okay, we're probably going to play the Tropics. If we make it out of prelims, we're going to play the Tropics. They always do good. Or if we don't, we play them in prelims, we're going to play them. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to play them, we're going to play slow, we're going to play just like them, and we're going to play disciplined paintball, and I'm going to bring as many pods as I want, as many pods as I need to have. And that layout, man, you can shoot probably 12 pods on the D side and still need a couple.
Yeah, I didn't get to play the layout. So it looks like a fun layout.
It was great.
So I was a little, man, I forgot to ask Tyler why they switched from blind to 2-week releases, but I didn't get to play that layout. So it's all right. We'll have Tyler back on. Yeah, it looked fun. The small field's just kind of fun, and it makes it feel a little bit more like, the spacing wise, it feels similar to traditional X-Ball with 5-on-5, right?
Yeah, it's much more like, it's almost closer to everything, right? Playing 5-on-5, it kind of feels like you're separated from everything, but 3-on-3, I mean, you're probably going to be like 5-10 yards away from somebody at any given time. You're never going to be far away on an island.
Yeah.
So that's
the part I like. I think the field's only like 100 feet long, right?
Yeah. It's something, I think it's 110.
110, something like that. Yeah. So it's pretty tight. But tell us how you found paintball, man.
So, funny story, and this kind of ties into why I started doing media for it before I started playing.
Okay.
So, it's my senior year of high school. I'm bored out of my mind. I'm in this college class or whatever, and we don't do anything, right? I've already finished the essay we're writing. I've got like a week straight of just, I'm not going to do anything today. So, I just go on YouTube, start watching stuff, start scrolling. And eventually this video shows up. I think it was either Serial Killers 2 or it was Diesel playing somebody. AC Diesel, I think it was 2023.
Okay.
And it just paintball. And so I saw, okay, I've heard stories of my dad playing paintball in the 90s in Michigan. So it's like, okay, let's watch this, see what it's about. I thought the masks were cool. And I watch it. Said, okay, this is kind of cool. And at the same time, I was in a media class for like the high school and videography and all that. Talking to one of my buddies, and it's like, hey man, this paintball thing is really cool. I kind of want to go do some media for it. And he tells me, well, I know a local player. I know somebody that actually goes and plays paintball. I'm like, sick. Send me his Instagram. Let me text. So this is like November of 2023. And he gives me Robert Presley. I don't know if you know him. He's a Snake player who played for the Wreckers.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
used to play for Castaways too, right?
He played with Castaways at World Cup. It was like the Palmetto team. It wasn't like the
Okay.
Castaways.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's not really in paint. He can't actually came play like 2 weekends ago, but he's taken a little break the past month or two. But snake player, really solid. Really good snake player. I text him. He's at World Cup, 2023 World Cup, and I text him, "Hey man, I thought paintball's really cool. Yada yada yada. Can I come out? I just want to do some media for you, like for free." And so he says, "Yeah, sure, man. We don't really have a schedule yet. I'll give you a schedule probably around like January or something." I say, cool. And months go by, I kind of forget about it. I always thought it was cool. And so I continue watching the paintball videos. Serial Killers, Heroes for a Day was a huge one. Dirter Dementia, all the Dirter videos, like
Yeah.
Progression, the whole Reckoning series, like the Dynasty ones and the Omaha Vicious documentary, just back to back to back to back to back. Literally for weeks on it. All I do. And then January 7th, 2024 comes around, go to the field, meet up with Robert. Robert introduced me to Justin Lamb, the rest of the Wreckers. And then, they're very warm, very welcoming, and they welcome me in open arms. And here we are, a year and a couple months later, and I'm still doing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That is probably the most unique intro to paintball story I've gotten on here for sure, but I think that I've heard.
Yeah, it's a unique one.
So when did from filming and taking photos, when did you transition to playing?
I started thinking about playing for the first time in NXL Chicago. So Chicago is the first event that I ever went to, and I started thinking, I'm laying in the hotel, the day before the event. I think it's Wednesday, and I'm just laying there. I'm thinking, I am 10 hours away from home without anybody that I've known for more than 6 months, right? And I'm laying there thinking, there's nothing I would rather do right now than be here, be at the paintball field, do this. Well, why don't I start playing? Like, I love it so much. Why don't I start playing? Then a couple months go by, I go to World Cup, and then at World Cup, I really start thinking, like, dude, I gotta start playing. After World Cup, come home, say, screw it, I'm gonna start playing. So honestly, it took about a full year of doing media, and then I said, it's time, I gotta do this. I love it so much.
That's awesome. It's just such a wild story.
It's been a roller coaster.
So it's been out a couple months, right? Your long video that you did on the Wreckers, and
Yeah.
you embedded for the whole season with them to do that.
Sort of. So what that was I kind of came in a little bit late. Actually, the anniversary for filming that just rolled around. I started filming it last year, April. It wasn't 13th. No, it wasn't 12th. I think it was April 3rd of last year. I started filming. And then I went a couple months with the Wreckers because they played one event, did poorly, played another event, or they played one event podium, played another event, did very poorly. Then I filmed the lead up to the next event. It was about month and a half to the third CPXL of the season. Then they did very poorly. And at that point, they kind of crumbled, right? So, it was a lot of situations going on. I'm still friends with everybody that was on the team. I'm still friends with, right? But the whole organization, they started crumbling. There was drama and all that. So, there's not really a story there. It's the lead up to the event, and then they do bad. They lose. So then I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna figure something out. I released part one of the thing, and then part one comes out. People start seeing my name. Oh, GLilly. So I start getting, okay, one team, two teams, three teams. contracting me for video saying, hey, can you come do this? And so I started getting paid to go to events. So then that kind of bankrolled my way to the next event, which kind of it shifted from the records to FDK. And then,
Okay.
so it was only with the records for about 2 months, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So who were you? Because we met this year at World Cup. Well, the last World Cup is when I met you.
Yeah. Yep.
And not realize, I think I just found you on a forum. You said you were down and filming and still had some spots left. And we were playing Mounds, which is like this, just a little weird offshoot.
Yeah.
But we got you for the whole day, I guess, because the other teams weren't playing until later, which was awesome. And you took my favorite photo ever of my buddy John.
Yeah. Funny story about that photo, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No, please tell it.
Funny story is I hated that photo for like a month. Because I'm over there and I'm taking it, and John turns around. I'm like, no, you ruined it. I wanted to get the whole huddle, and John's talking to everybody. And he turns around, he points, and then he kind of looks at me. And it's like, no, oh man, that looked so good. And then a month goes by, and I'm on the computer, and I'm editing everything. And every time I pass it, I'm like, I hate you, I hate you. And then one day comes by, and I think it's like the day before I'm gonna start shipping stuff out, and I'm like, you know what? This is a good photo. I'm gonna include it. If they don't like it, that's okay. But it's something. And then ever since, literally the moment I exported it and I just put it with everybody else's, with y'all's photos, ever since then I've looked at it and I'm like, I love that photo. That's probably the top 5 photos I took at World Cup, because it's John, it's the whole team, and it's just the vibes. And I'm so glad I took it. But for months or for weeks, I hated it so much.
That's funny. Because it very much like captures John's essence.
Absolutely. I only ever met him at World Cup so far, but it seems very much true.
I think I've used it for like 4 pieces of media already.
And I've seen John's use it a couple times on the JT forum. It's like, I took that.
Well, and so leading up to that, I was doing like a countdown to World Cup on the Absolute Carnage page. And we didn't have like really good photos of us because we're just a bunch of dirtbags that never really get photos.
Yeah, paintball players.
Yeah, we're paintball players. And as it got lower and lower, I needed one of just John by himself. And all I had was this crappy, like grainy photo of him checking his phone or something. And I threw it up there, and a bunch of the guys from Colorado jumped on there like, this is the best photo you have of him. I was like, by himself? Yes. Like, John's always with someone. Yeah. So it's hard to get his silhouette by himself. So like when you got that one and we saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So
covering y'all was a highlight of my World Cup, because everything else I did was speedball, X-ball, it's 5-man, and I come over here to Mounds and it's just everybody's having a good time. It's like, this is nice.
Yeah, it's a different world back there, right? So I've been preaching it on here. Mounds is if you don't have an X-ball team, go and play Mounds at World Cup, because it's awesome.
Absolutely.
So yeah, well, I'm glad we got to expose you to it.
Yeah, it was great, because I never would have gone over there. I've got a buddy who played on a 3-man team, and it was on Wednesday, and he's like, hey, let's go walk the Mounds field. And I look at him a little bit funny, and I'm like, why the fuck would I walk the Mounds field? Like, I don't understand why I do that. And then the day comes around, I think it's Friday, Saturday.
Friday, I think, was when we had you.
Yeah. And we walk it Friday, and I'm shooting it Friday, and it's like, this is so much fun. I should have walked it,
Well, you got some good photos and video, man. So
always the goal.
So it was really like a last minute thing for me to pull the trigger, and it was just I don't know, it was maybe a week out or something, I think, when I contacted you, and I was like, you know what, I just want some good photos of me and the boys for once.
Yeah.
Because I've always done it with like the X-ball teams. Like, I have 1,000 photos of me playing X-ball, but I have like none, or had none, of me playing Mounds, except for like maybe 4 total. And that's right now, that's what I'm super passionate about is the classic paintball, although I'm still playing everything. So I really wanted good photos and video. And I had a
I'm
project in
glad I was
mind to
able.
do with it, but this project came up, so I haven't had time. So I was really glad, and I was stoked. You know, you got some good ones of Ryan. Like the ones I really appreciate from you are the Candid ones. Like the plain ones are cool, the video's cool, but like the Candid stuff of like just the boys hanging out outside
That's
the
what
net.
people remember.
Yeah,
That's really what people remember.
yeah, it's just been those are the favorites for sure, and you do a really good job at them. And obviously, you did a really good job of like getting that epic background of the hotel too.
Yeah.
In a lot of
Yeah.
them, like
That's something I came, that was the first World Cup I'd ever been to, obviously. So I come to the venue and I see this hotel and I'm like, this is the holy grail. For me, this is the holy grail because I love seeing cool stuff in the background, right? And seeing that, I'm like, I gotta include this. I challenged myself to take 20 photos that I could look at and just be thrilled with. I love the background, everything's focused, it's a good moment, it's somebody that's like genuinely important. And, a lot of you guys were part of that. It's on the mountain field, you got a great view of everything. I was very happy to see that and to include that.
yeah, it was just awesome. So did you go and shoot at Tampa Bay too?
I did not know.
No.
Some work stuff got in the way.
Okay.
The next NXL I should be going to is Cincinnati.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make it to that one too. The first two were not working out for me this year, so
Yeah, I feel that.
we're gonna try. So, what are you shooting kind of this year? Let's kind of go through that.
Well, all the AXL
Okay.
period, right? I'm gonna be at all the AXL. I might be playing the next one D5. We're kind of seeing how that goes. But I'm only ever gonna be able to play the one event this year because I'm D6. Why would I play multiple D5 events? But I'm shooting all of the D4 AXLs. I'm not going to be shooting any C3 XLs this year, but I do plan on going to the next CFOA Blitz.
Okay.
And then probably Cincinnati, and then probably World Cup. I don't know if I want to go to Chicago again because Chicago is the worst. But definitely at least Cincinnati and World Cup.
Okay.
If everything goes well, I would definitely shoot.
Nice. And then what's the team you're playing for? Let's shout them out real quick. Kind of talk about how.
Three-man team. The three-man team that I'm really committed to is Evolution.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly a rec ball team, but there's some of the people, like they were the first team that really kind of embraced me and paid me to do media,
Okay. Nice.
and it wasn't just the records. So like I've got a lot of loyalty to some of those guys, like at the higher levels of the speedball. So I decided I was wanting to play with them and get some of their insight.
Okay. Cool. So, what did the boys say when you're like, "Hey, I want to play"?
Most across the board is you should do it. Right? It's like I'm out every weekend, I'm just filming, doing like random videos. But, I've just been in the pits, I'm doing whatever, just getting comfortable in the environment. And so, I'm talking in Chicago, we're riding in the car, windows are down, we're going back to the hotel. It's like 25, 30-minute drive away. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, man, I kind of want to start playing. Everyone just immediately said, you should do it. Everybody had a long day, but it was just immediate enthusiasm. You got to do it, man. And I agree with them 100%. Is like, it's a great release. Doing media for it's great. And I love it. Like, if I had to choose between one of the two, I would do media.
Okay.
Like, media is my first love, but it's two separate things. It's totally different.
Yeah. So what gear did you pick up? Because I'm assuming you at least had a good mask and stuff for shooting media, but what gear did you decide to pick up to play with?
So I made a mistake to start off with.
Okay.
So I bought an Ethel 1 off of, I think Trade My Gun or one of the websites, one of the big websites. It's an Ethel 1, which is, in my honest opinion, one of the worst paintball guns you could ever buy. My God, I hate that thing. And so I played with that for maybe a month, and I said, screw it, I'm just gonna blow my whole next paycheck. And I bought a CS2, and now that's the only gun I'll shoot. My
Okay.
CS2. I love that thing.
That's a big upgrade.
CS2 is a great gun. I'll live and die by that thing.
Nice. And then just a random pod pack, or?
It was a pod pack. One of the dudes that went to Chicago, he gave it to me for free. He literally said, "Hey man, this doesn't fit." You know, the owner of the team, Paintball Pete at Palmetto, he gave it to me. I can't wear it. You know, it doesn't fit me. Do you want it? And I said, "Sure, man. I hate getting shot. Like right where you wear a pod pack, getting shot there is the worst." So I wore it the rest of Chicago, put water in it, which in Chicago last year, man, you needed some water. Good God, those days were long. So I got that, started playing with that. Eventually, I moved off of that. For the first event that I played, first couple months I played, I was wearing it was a Falcon, you know, like the Falcon with
Yeah.
American flag
Okay,
logo
nice.
on it. Was wearing that. And then a Virtue Spire.
Okay. Solid. That's kind of
Yeah,
like the standard, right? Like the
yeah,
Virtue Spire has kind of become the new standard, especially in the southeast where it gets humid.
yeah.
Summer's a little rough on dye products as far as loaders go, you know.
Yeah, I've seen so many dye guns and dye loaders go down. I can't bring myself to use one.
I'm still rocking the DSR, but
I've heard they're amazing guns. If I have to choose between Planet Eclipse and dye, I love my Planet Eclipse, you know?
look, and if it works for you, it works for you, right?
Exactly. If it shoots, it shoots.
Yeah. That's the important part, that it's shooting. So, have you just played the 2 events so far?
That's it. You know,
Okay.
I go out pretty much every weekend and practice. Yeah, event wise, it's my D6 year, so I'm trying to make best use of that and not rank out
Mhm.
too quick.
Okay.
So
Nice.
play as much as I can, but still be in D6, and then next year play D5.
Okay.
Just have some fun with it.
Cool. And is the plan kind of to play one day and shoot the following day?
For 5 man, definitely, yeah, because
Okay.
5 man is really like I enjoy shooting D4. You know, I kind of acknowledge like I'm probably never gonna get out of D4. You know, I'm playing paintball for fun. You know, it's something to do on the weekends. It's something competitive to do and physical to do,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's like a beer league hockey game. You
Yeah.
know, I'm just having some fun. And then media is kind of my big thing. So I acknowledge, am I ever gonna go play NXL X ball events? Probably not. But that's just kind of how I'm treated.
Well, hey, if you ever want to play mounds,
Hey, I would be down to play Mount.
we'll hit you up when it comes time.
Heck yeah.
So how did you get into like media before paintball even? Like how did that start with you?
So growing up as a kid, I always loved. I was a very active kid, so I could never really sit down for a movie. But I always loved movies, so I would just love to see how they were made and to watch them and to do all this. And then as I'm getting into high school, there's a media technology class at like the technology center. I say, okay, this is kind of cool. Let me take this. And I haven't really told anyone this, but I initially on the paper that they gave us, I saw media technology. I thought, oh, it's a technology class. I like computers. I'm going to check that. It's not a computer class. It's cameras and media and movies. And I'm like, even better, you know, I love this stuff. So signed up for that. Loved it the first year, which was my sophomore year. I think it was my sophomore year. COVID's still going on, but I love it. But then my junior year rolls around. We have a big old project, you know, lots of stuff. And I just love diving into it. And then ever since then, it's just blossomed.
Okay.
Carried on through my senior year and I got a camera to shoot outside of school and then did all this stuff, and now it's a genuine passion.
Awesome. That's kind of cool. So, um, what else do you shoot besides paintball?
Right now it's kind of spotty. I don't have much like customer base to shoot, but
Okay.
like I whenever I get credentials to go shoot, I'll shoot anything. You know, I'll go shoot soccer games for a local high school, football games. I went and shot the like the high school state championship that Northwestern played in, which is my high school. And I was able to see my high school and a bunch of my friends that I used to play football with in middle school. You know, I see those guys and they go win a state championship. It's like to me that was great to see, and you know, I love covering that stuff, and I got some really good work out of that game, and
Awesome.
I'll go to pretty much any.
Okay. So, anything you want filmed, hit up GLilly
Heck yeah,
on the Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook. Heck, if you can find my email on YouTube, just give me.
What is the YouTube handle? Well, we gotta put that out there.
It's the same as everything. It's just GLillyFilms, no breaks. It's just straight GLillyFilms. That's kind of I'm hitting the YouTube pretty hard this year to kind of get X-Ball matches flowing out. I've been releasing just X-Ball matches every Saturday, 7 a.m. Free X-Ball.
Okay.
It's just something that you can watch. Carolina divisional paintball. You can watch the best that the Carolinas have to offer, and it's just eventually, a year down the road, maybe I'll have 50 matches of X-Ball. And
Oh,
then
that'd
if
be
you're
awesome.
bored one night, go down the playlist, say, I want to watch Creekside play FTK or
Mhm.
whoever's playing. I don't think FTK is anymore this year, but that type of thing is watch these local divisional teams and some of the history that happens. So
Yeah.
whenever you're talking to one of these guys that's at the field and said, well, yeah, 2 years ago, I ran down the snake side. Nobody saw me. It was 5v1. I ran down the snake side, shoot three of them. I go hit the buzzer. Well, now it's on video. Now
No,
you can
it's on
actually
me.
show your friends, hey, go watch this match. I did that.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the.
That's awesome. So, are you editing the match, or is it raw footage just put together? How are you doing it?
It's very slightly edited, right?
Okay.
So whenever there's extreme dead zones and nobody's communicating, nobody's shooting, nobody's moved in a while, I'm not gonna leave that in and have a 20-minute video. But whenever there's shooting going on, there's talking in the match, I leave all that in. It's very loosely edited, right? So it's very raw paintball so that you can see the whole match. If you've seen like Solus photography and he releases his matches, it's very similar to
Yeah.
that, to where it's majority of the match and there's small cuts here and there, but it's mostly just watch the match ball, because there's no broadcast.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I like that, man. Like that's kind of cool. Yeah, I started seeing it like I think last week. When did you start releasing it? Was it?
It was
I
two,
saw a
three
thing
weeks
like
ago.
today.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago is when you started, and you just the goals every week, one new X
Yeah.
ball match.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, I think there's five, so I don't know how many are actually live right now, but I've got five fully edited matches. I've got them scheduled just every Sunday. It automatically releases at 7. I've had one, I think the one that released today has been like scheduled for like 3 weeks ever since I started. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
just, I schedule it ahead of time. Once the next event rolls around, I might have 1 week off of there's no X-Ball match because the matches are being played.
Yeah.
And then the next week, it's got to be more matches. And all the matches after prelims in the actual bracket, I record those for free. Like my policy is
Okay.
you pay for prelims and then everything after prelims, that's just a bonus. I'm not going to give it to you for free if you didn't pay.
Uh huh.
But like if you did pay for anything in prelims, you get everything just in the
Nice.
bracket.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. I really like that. That's just. We don't have a webcast, uh, and uh, you're kind of making yourself one of the protectors of Carolina history in a weird way for
that's
paintball.
definitely that's definitely something that I value a lot is like I don't want to give away too much, but I mean it's not really much to give away. Like I'm kind of starting in the beginning stages of like making a full Carolina documentary, just cover like
Nice.
the entire league. Go down to Myrtle Beach, cover the Beach Bandits. Go down to I think Charleston, cover the Creekside, like that whole team, that whole camp, cover Smoke, just to give in 10 years, give everybody instead of having to go around and search like I'm having to do right now, I'm searching around for Baltimore Trauma 2005 World Cup and I'm seeing it's in 144p of a
Yeah.
video from a dirter video. It's like I'm having to search around for everything. I want somebody to be able to look and go back and see this is the Carolinas in 2025 or in the mid 2020s, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
I want
so
to
awesome.
encapsulate that history because paintball is so important, but also the history of it is even more so, right? And that kind of ties into the reason I got into paintball is those movies, is serial killers, is Heroes for a Day. My sense of paintball was 20 years old when I walked onto the field,
That's
right? It's like the stuff I'm used to is, 15 balls per second, like Ollie Lane going and stabbing a dude with 30 shots in his back. It's
in
like that's what
penalty
I'm used
boxes
to.
and
Yeah,
X's.
penalty boxes. It's like that's what I'm used to. And so I want people to be able to see that history
Hmm.
and see all the teams, all the players that gave so much, like FTK last year. right? There's so many players on that team that are going to be playing paintball in 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're all excellent, right? They're probably not going to be playing divisional paint, right? They're going to be playing, D2 semi-pro. Confident at least 2 of them are going to be in the pro bracket very soon.
Well, and what's his name was already in the semi-pro bracket.
Yeah, Noah played at semi-pro smoke. Like Owen Pinches played with D2 with Underground. It's like all these players, they're only gonna get better. They're only gonna get more athletic. They're all in their early 20s or they're teenagers. It's like they're my age. So I want something in 10 years for the kid that comes up and looks back and sees, all the OGs that are around in his day when they were young. I want
You're gonna have some like really cool archived stuff in like 10 years.
Oh yeah, that's the hope, man. I'm looking at investing in like a huge storage array to have terabytes on terabytes of storage. So I've never deleted anything. Like anything that I've filmed on a paintball field, I've never deleted it. I've still got it. And I never want to delete any point that I ever film. I never want to delete it. That's my goal.
Gonna need to buy that storage.
It's a lot. I've got maybe one event's worth of storage left on the hard drive that I bought to start of last season.
Okay.
I'm pushing right up against it.
Coming up to it.
Yeah.
What camera are you using for someone who's like thinking about maybe getting into it?
Well, that's kind of a long story because I use several.
Okay.
So for photos, I use one camera. It's a 1DX Mark II. But then for video, which is what I really prioritize, like I'm gonna start shifting towards only video.
Okay.
I started with a C100, a Canon C100, and then I've now upgraded to a Canon C200, which the C2, which is what I'm planning to shoot the whole film on and everything like that.
Nice.
It's great camera, great investment, but for paintball, man, you can do a lot with very little in paint because it's almost sports broadcast, where if you catch the moment and you're not distracting the viewer with your camera work, it really doesn't matter what you're shooting with, whether it's a, piece of crap Canon Rebel from 2002 or, a Ari Alexa that costs $120,000. At the end of the day, the whole moment's kind of captured, right? So as long as you're not distracting the viewer with, shaky video and all that, I think that's kind of it. You can really do a lot with a little.
So don't just like if someone's looking to get into it, just get something and just shoot.
Yeah. You don't got to get a CS3 or an R5 right away. If you get like an ETHA 3 right off the bat, that's 90% of the gun you'll ever need.
Yeah.
Period. Right. So that 90% is really valuable because that's 90% of everything.
I like that analogy too, because like, ETHA 3 solid mid-range marker. Like you could really run that your entire paintball career if you wanted to.
Honestly, I've seen guys in D4 win an event with the ETHA 3.
Yeah. So, there's definitely like a step up, right? Like here's your rec stuff, and then, but once you're in that mid range, like you're kind of paying for the extra bells and whistles,
For convenience, right?
Yeah.
It's like a car. Every car rolls down the road now. You don't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
What you're paying for is all the extra bells and whistles. Can it pull, 3 tons or whatever it is? That's all you're paying.
And the heat seaters and whatnot. But do you really need it?
Exactly.
So you guys might do you might play the AXL at Rock Hill later this month?
Yeah. I'm probably the only player. It's probably not going to be the Evolution team that I was talking about before. It's going to be a different team that I'm just going to guest on. But most likely, yeah, I'm going to be playing that and just have a learning experience. I fully intend on dying a lot and playing very poorly, but it's going to make me personally a better player that then I can help everybody else that I'm playing with and say, hey, this is what these guys do to win, and this is what these guys did to lose. And so then I can help push my peers along.
Yeah, that's what one of the GAC Greenville guys kind of did that. They got their D6 squad, and then one of them went and came and played the Blitz with us last time to kind of get just a little bit more experience. So, was that an Evolution team you were filming up there?
Yeah, it was. It
Okay.
was, and those are the guys that kind of took me in, like at the start of last year, and they were more than willing to pay for what I admit is kind of garbage media, and they paid premium media prices for it, but they consistently did it, and eventually they let me grow and grow and grow. And I'm not gonna kid around and say I'm, the greatest, shell to photos or verbal. I'm not gonna say that I'm that, but I'm much improved. I'm worthy of, your $150 for an
Yeah.
event. Before, maybe toss them a McDonald's Happy Meal and, get out of here. But, they paid up front, and now, they've helped me develop into what I am now. I really appreciate them for that. I really do.
That's awesome. And that's kind of cool that you got to be with a team like that, I think that's kind of rare, to be honest with you.
I agree. It really is. And every time, like every month, pretty much, I kind of have a moment, and it's usually when I'm shooting an event where I kind of think and I say, there were about 20 dominoes that had to fall to put me right here. And they all did, and they all did it perfect. And I'm so grateful that everyone that I've met in the order that I did acted the way that they did to kind of get me there, because it's been such an experience, such a ride that I'm so grateful for it. It's been amazing.
Awesome. In Palmetto, kind of like you're based out of there. Blue is semi-based out of there. I mean, he's a little bit nomadic.
Yeah, he's very nomadic, but he's good friends with Tyler and Pete. Sometimes he parks his van and sleeps there, kind of the off season stuff. Yeah, he definitely is based
And
out of there.
then, No Cap, is he based out of there too?
Like he was for a good bit. He was.
Okay.
I don't know if he was living there. He was. He had his trailer there. But in the off season, I think a couple weeks after World Cup, he moved down to Florida, as far as I'm
Nice.
aware. So I think he's down.
Yeah, I got to meet him at that turkey shoot thing we did. Dude, I want to tell you, I was so stoked when I realized you were playing at that first C3XL. I was like, all right, the homie's going out to do it.
Yeah.
No, that was really fun for me to see you actually play.
Yeah, it's been fun to start. It's been great.
How is it getting your photo taken by other photographers now?
That's honestly been the weirdest part. Is now I'm here and I'm paying for photos, and I'm like, what do I do? It's like, why are you looking at me? Look at the players. And then I look down. I was like, oh shit, I am a player. So it's been very weird, but I'm very grateful for it. I've kind of gone through every photographer, and I continue to plan to do that because, I'm friends with everybody that
Yeah.
goes out and does media. You become friends with the reps and friends with the media people when you're doing media. So I kind of like to spread the love.
Yeah, no, you got to spread the love around, right? So, like I said, I don't prepay for photography at local events anymore just because like I have so much X-ball photos from the relapse days.
And honestly, that's very valid. I know a lot of people that do that, and it's like, you know what? If Clutch doesn't want media anymore because Clutch has been playing 15 years, I get that. You guys have been there, done that.
Yeah. Now, the caveat though is I always get suckered into buying photos after the fact. So,
They upcharge you for that.
yeah, I know they do. So I think I just need to probably suck it up and start paying one of you guys again.
Maybe, maybe.
We'll see. This year's been like, so I kind of took a step back from playing, or at least that's what I told myself I was going to do. But I think I've played more than I did last year at this point. So just because someone's like, hey, you want to go and do that? I'm like, yeah, I want to go do that. Like, I'm just so shocked people are asking me. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I played this 5-man event. Is I was playing in Taylorsville last weekend, and one of the guys was like, "Man, I don't know why you won't play with us." It's like, nobody asked. Do you want me? It's like, heck yeah. It's like, okay, I'll play. So
That is a theme that's been running through these. Like, just ask. And if you want a player, ask if they'll play with you. If you want a sponsorship, ask if you can work something out.
as a media person, and I'm gonna have to start, asking all these people, asking, these guys in Myrtle Beach, hey, can I come down and kind of take over, these sections of the field for a little bit? Can I ask you over for an hour-long interview? It's like paintball is so accommodating. These guys are so positive. It's like I've almost never heard somebody say, I don't want to do that, right? It's almost always, you know what? Yeah, win where, right? It's been perfect. It's been amazing.
Yeah. And from the podcast side, like I, I've never been told no. I've been told I'm nervous, and like the nerves have gotten enough of them that where they don't commit, which is fine. Like, but it's really just having a conversation. Like we're just, just sitting here.
It's a televised conversation.
Yeah, yeah. We would have this conversation sitting on the sideline at the C3. So it's a little bit cooler because we get to focus just on each other, which you don't get to do at an event because you're running here, running there. Oh, I'm up. I got to get back to the team,
Yeah.
But it's just it's whatever conversation you have at the pro shop at the end of the day. Like that's what this is.
Yeah.
So,
in my opinion, that's, kind of the most valued parts of paintball is, you're staying after the event and you don't want to go home and you're with your people, is you sacrificed, you spent so much money and you've done all these things. And now whether you win or lose, you're just kind of, you're there. And that's kind of the moment where everything clicks. It's like, this is why I do this,
yeah.
It's not to win, it's not to lose, to be there with your buddies, with your homies, and just have a live.
And I do feel like, it creates these strong bonds because it is super competitive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we aren't playing pinball next to each other or something.
Yeah.
Like, I think the bond gets solidified because of the competitive nature. But also, like, you get to meet people that you wouldn't normally meet, either because of distance or they do something completely different from you,
Hang out in the different social circles and everything.
Yeah, but then you come to the field and, honestly, like some of my best friends are my paintball guys,
Exactly.
I got 2 or 3 like that have been riding with me since high school, I think. And then it's my paintball guys. Like they're the ones.
That's why I say, it's like paintball is such a positive thing for a lot of people because, I mean, that's a lot of people's community, and it's such a positive community in my opinion, too.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Good vibes all around.
I agree with you. Even when someone gets shot into the ground, like someone's helping pick you up, like, yes, on the field, it can get super aggressive sometimes, but
And then off the field,
it's
everybody's friends.
Yeah, everyone's friends. So, especially like just hanging out at the park. Like if it's not tournament day, like everyone's just buddy outside the nets.
Okay.
So, so what big projects have you released, and what outside of the do you mind talking about some of the ones you got in the works?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. This is a great platform to kind of talk about it. So there's that Carolina overview documentary that it's in very early pre-production. I've talked to a couple people just saying, okay, and I don't think he'd mind if I say Chris, I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but it's Al Nazir or something like that. Great dude, very nice. I've
Tank,
talked to him a little.
the tank guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
love Chris.
Dude, great guy. And I've never talked to him. And I texted, or he texted me, and I post a story like, hey, what should I include in this? And it's like, yeah, man, like, what all do you need? And I mean, he literally gave me a spreadsheet of,
He's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to
dude,
like paintball in the Carolinas.
I plan on at least interviewing him, if not abusing his brain of just, okay, give me everything you know. I need it all on paper. Just let me know all of it right now. But like he gave me a list of current teams, a list of past teams, of current players, of past players, and of just like notable figures in the whole Carolina paintball scene. It's like 15 columns down, and there's 10, 15 divisional teams, 10, 15 pro team, or not pro teams, but like high level teams. It was amazing. He's such a wealth of knowledge. And like the moment I reached out about that, it was, heck yeah, man, I'd love to. Give me a couple days. Let me work on that.
And he
And
sent
so
over the spreadsheet. That's
it
so
was
awesome.
amazing. I still got it. I've got it favorited in my photos. And it's like, something I look over constantly. It's like, okay, I need to get this person, and this person, all for interviews. How can I do that? So that's been so helpful. Um, and so that whole project is I'm very excited about. That's kind of what my next big thing is going to be. I'm also thinking about doing like a serial killers type of video for like some of the higher level players, but I doubt that's ever going to really see the light of day. I've done like a proof of concept, but I really don't know how that's going to work out because it's such a different game nowadays. It's so much
Yeah.
slower and communication based.
Yeah,
So,
you'd have to find someone that's just super aggressive naturally to really get those shots.
yeah. And in the proof of concept I did 4 players, and one of them is Owen Pinch, who is one of the most aggressive snake players I've ever seen. And then one of them is a smoke player, which, if you know smoke, it's like that's how they play. They play that high. It's just awesome to watch paintball. And I love smoke so much because that's the type of paintball they play.
Yeah, they're definitely coming at you.
Oh, yeah. But yeah. So again, I don't know if that's ever going to see the light of day. That would be a lot of work and a lot of travel, especially because, you want to go to NXL events for that type of thing. I don't know if that ever be possible to happen, but it's definitely in the works. Or not in the works, but definitely in the concept stage.
Cool.
And aside from that, I'm pretty sure that that's pretty much it. It's a short list, but I'm excited to get work.
No, dude, I'm so stoked you're doing something like that. Like I said before we started recording, that was part of the mission of this was to go and dig out these guys that were around back in the day, and some of them are still around, some are not.
And just get them to talk.
Yeah, and just get them to talk about. So if you ever need a in to anyone that I have interviewed, you let me know. I will make the introduction for you. If you ever need footage from this thing, I will
Yeah.
we'll get it on the Google Drive so you can have like the good footage. So whatever you need, because I'm a big fan of that. I'm a huge,
Yeah.
huge fan. So
I'll definitely reach out about that because having contacts that like a lot more people than I know in the scene, and so having somebody like you that says, "Hey, this is G Lilly," he does this, that's extremely valuable to me at least. So I'll definitely reach out about that.
and Josh Conley, hit up Josh Conley. Chris knows him. Him and Chris are really good buddies.
Okay.
That dude is also a wealth of knowledge for Carolina paintball. So
Heck yeah.
man, this feels like we just started 10 minutes ago, but we're at an hour,
Right.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's put a pin in it for this
All right.
time, and we'll touch base like later in the season and stuff, man.
Yeah.
Shout out the team, shout out the sponsors, and
Yep.
then
Shout
shout
out.
out the YouTubes.
Yeah, shout out Evolution, all the Evolution homies. Shout out QC Royals. They're having a rough start to the season, but they're all great dudes. I love them. Shout out. I'm not really sponsored by anybody personally. I don't get into all that. But shout out GLillyFilms on YouTube. I heard he's a great guy. And GLillyFilms on Instagram. And that's pretty much it. It's a small base.
All right, cool. Well, that's a wrap. We'll catch you next time on the Planet Paintball Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Shout out to 1023 Sportswear for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to use code Planet Paintball at checkout for 20% off your order. Gear up, save big. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball Podcast